The day humanity walked away, the Great Hall of Concord buzzed with tension. Delegates from 1,000 worlds filled the amphitheater, their voices rising in a chaotic, bitter storm. Under the silver dome that reflected the stars themselves, it was supposed to be a day of unity, a final agreement to bind the species of the galaxy together in peace. Instead, it had become a tribunal. At the center of it all stood humanity's delegation, a small group, no more than 6 individuals, yet their presence eclipsed even the largest alien envoys. They were silent, dignified, and insulted beyond measure. The Jatil representative, a being of translucent flesh and many mouths, sneered openly. The humans, it hissed, are too volatile, too unpredictable. They must accept a lesser status if we are to ensure stability. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the council. Others chimed in, ancient races with empires spanning millennia, haughty in their power, blind to what they were about to lose. Ambassador Elena Voss of Earth stood slowly. She was not tall compared to the towering Xyrix or the hulking Bravax, but somehow, as she rose, the room seemed to lean toward her. Her voice was calm, deadly calm. "Let me understand this clearly," she said, her words cutting through the noise. "After humanity fought your wars, healed your plagues, rebuilt your economies, you propose we accept a subordinate role?" No one answered. No one needed to. The arrogance was written across their alien faces. Voss's lips pressed into a thin line. She turned, facing the other human delegates, each of whom nodded grimly. She turned back to the council. "Very well," she said. "We withdraw. Effective immediately." A cold silence fell. The Jatil ambassador gurgled with laughter. "Withdraw? From what? We are the galaxy. You will return on your knees." Elena Voss smiled, a smile colder than the vacuum between stars. "You misunderstand," she said. "When humanity withdraws, it will be from everything." And then, without ceremony, without fanfare, the human delegation walked out of the Great Hall. They didn't look back. They didn't need to. The consequences would come to the council soon enough. For the first few days, the council celebrated. "Good riddance," many whispered. Humans were too ambitious, too dangerous. They sent dismissive reports to their homeworlds, assuring their people that the galaxy was better off without the unpredictable Terrans. But soon the cracks began to show. The Xyrix mining operations faltered. Their fusion reactors, designed by human engineers, could no longer be maintained. The Vtal medical stations reported sudden equipment failures, the kind only Earth specialists knew how to fix. Entire trade routes collapsed. Human freighters, once the lifeline of the outer colonies, vanished overnight. No grain shipments. No rare minerals. No vaccines for the low-gravity plagues sweeping across the rim worlds. Piracy skyrocketed. Without the Earth defense packs, smaller worlds were left unprotected, easy prey for raiders. And worst of all, rumors spread. Rumors that humanity had not just left the Council, but had taken something with them. Something critical. The quantum nexus networks, built by human scientists, used by all, were slowly, systematically, going dark. Entire sectors fell into silence. Planets screamed into the void for help. No one answered. The galaxy, once loud and bustling, grew quieter with each passing day. Until there was only one truth left. Without humanity, the galaxy could not function. By the 3rd month, desperation had set in. Emergency councils were called. Secret envoys dispatched to Earth, only to find the planet had erected powerful orbital defenses. Messages were sent. Pleas. Bribes. Threats. The humans answered none of them. For the first time in living memory, the galaxy truly understood the depth of their dependence. It was not humanity that needed the Council. It was the Council that needed humanity. And they had thrown them away. The plea that echoed across the stars, expanded version. The emergency session of the Galactic Council was chaos incarnate. Where once proud and regal diplomats had strutted across the marbled floors of the Concord Hall, now they stumbled and argued like frightened children. Their luxurious robes were stained with sweat, their eyes hollow from sleepless nights. Across holographic displays, one grim report followed another. The collapse of trade routes. Civil wars erupting on once prosperous planets. Entire civilizations facing famine, plague, and technological regression. The galaxy was dying, and it was their own arrogance that had poisoned it. "We cannot survive without them," croaked the Bravax High Minister, his voice cracking with desperation. His tusks drooped pitifully as he addressed the gathered council. "We must do whatever it takes to bring the humans back." A chorus of reluctant agreement followed. Even the haughty Jatil ambassador, once the loudest voice against humanity, sat in sullen silence, its many mouths trembling. "But how?" whimpered the Athari diplomat, her bioluminescent skin dimming in despair. "They have sealed their worlds. Our envoys are turned away. Our transmissions go unanswered." The silence that followed was thicker than a black hole's event horizon. And then, from the shadowed upper balcony of the council chamber, a single figure stood, a being ancient beyond reckoning. Elder Savrix of the Orvisians, whose kind had witnessed the birth of the first empires. Her voice was soft, yet it carried through the hall like a thunderclap. "You must beg. You must lay down your pride, your crowns, your banners, and beg for their forgiveness." The word beg struck many like a physical blow. Diplomats flinched. Others looked away in shame. Yet deep down, they all knew the terrible truth. They had no other choice. Within hours, across every corner of the galaxy, a single, desperate message was broadcast. To the people of Earth, the sons and daughters of Sol, we, the Galactic Council, come to you not with authority, but with regret. We wronged you. We shunned your sacrifices. We mocked your kindness. We see now, with open eyes, how blind we were. Without you, we falter. Without you, we fall. Return to us. Save us. In humility, in sorrow, we plead. It was transmitted across every known star system, every abandoned colony, every silent relay station. It played endlessly, until even the rogue AI fleets, even the pirates hiding in the asteroid belts, grew tired of hearing the Council's shame echo through the void. And yet, Earth remained silent. Days turned into weeks. Whole sectors collapsed into lawlessness. The rim worlds, once thriving under human-supported technology, now burned as warlords seized the ruins. The food crises worsened. Disease outbreaks spread with no Terran doctors left to stop them. In a desperate move, the Council dispatched an envoy fleet, an armada of their finest ships, to the borders of Sol. They came not in power, but in supplication. Flags of surrender fluttered from their hulls. Their leaders knelt in zero gravity before the silent defenses of Earth's mighty orbital bastions. For hours they waited, broadcasting their plea again and again, growing hoarse and broken. Until finally, when all hope seemed lost, Earth answered. The transmission was simple. It came not from a council channel but from an ancient Terran outpost on Luna, the Armstrong Cradle. A single human figure appeared, an old soldier in a worn gray uniform. General Marcus Ryland. He had no medals, no banners, only a hard, steady gaze that seemed to pierce every soul watching. "You cry out now after casting us aside," he said, voice cold as the lunar surface. "You call us masters, saviors, when once you spat upon our sacrifices. When we stood beside you, you called us dangerous. When we bled for you, You mocked our ways. You did not just reject our presence, you rejected who we are. And now you seek us not because you love us, but because you need us. He leaned forward. We are not your servants. We are not your crutches. We are your reckoning. The screen flickered, then showed the terms. Full sovereignty over all human colonies and protectorates. A permanent human council seated above the Galactic Council, with supreme veto power. Galactic reparations to be paid in resources, technology, and territory. Recognition of humanity's right to isolation, or domination, whenever it chose. No alien interference, ever again, in human affairs. You will sign. You will kneel. Or you will burn with the ashes of your own pride. The transmission ended. The council was stunned into silence. Some raged. Some wept. But all knew there was no alternative. The galaxy needed humanity far more than humanity needed the galaxy. And so, under a darkened sky on the ruined fields of Novus Prime, a ceremony was held. The Council's proudest leaders, once masters of countless star systems, lined up like penitents. One by one, they knelt before humanity's delegation, heads bowed in surrender. Elena Voss, now High Chancellor of the United Terran Accord, stood at the forefront, flanked by Ryland and the new generation of Terran leaders. No smiles graced their faces. There was no celebration. Only a heavy, iron-bound justice. As the treaty was signed, ancient Earth music played through the loudspeakers, not the triumphant anthems of conquest, but a quiet, mournful melody. A reminder that victory was not sweet, that it had been bought at a terrible cost, and that humanity, though victorious, would never forget how alone they had once been among the stars. In the silent night of the rebuilt Concord Hall, a new star map was unveiled. At its center, glowing brighter than any other system, was Sol, Earth, humanity, not as one voice among many, but as the voice that mattered most.